Alright, if you didn't watch my previous video, I will highly recommend you to watch that one first. And this is going to be a follow-up video to help you get these higher self concepts drilled into you so then you can start living a more aligned life with your higher self. So one of the common themes with some of my videos is that you'll see me sharing many of these exercises, from like visualization exercises to meditation practices that we're actually going to do. And these exercises are ones that I found super transformative and helpful for me. So that I hope to also introduce it to you and change your life. And to some of you, it might seem like these concepts and these practices are pretty new itself. And it might sound pretty woo-woo or pretty BS in the beginning. And that's one of the things that I experienced myself and a lot of my friends also talk about, right? Especially when we're teenagers. So first, I just want to spend a bit of time before getting into the core exercise of this video, just briefly explaining what visualization is and how powerful of a tool this really is to help you set up goals and attract the things that you want in your life. So first, let's just begin with asking a very simple question. If you take a look at any object that's around you in your room or wherever you are right now, and just think about the question, where is this object created from? What will your answer be? Right? Just take a moment to think about that, just pinpoint an object, and let me do so as well. Let me see. Let's actually get this. Actually move around. I think this is a really good example here. So what I got here was a pillow from the couch behind. And if you think about the pillow itself, right? Where was this created from? And the first answer that popped up into my mind is a factory, right? I mean, that's pretty common sense. So, a factory. But what if we think one level deeper with whatever answer you have? Where did the factory get this concept of a pillow? Like, like how it feels and how it looks and like the texture on the pillow. Like, how did it even come up with this, right? They might have found it somewhere online, maybe, or it might just be common sense because everyone knows what a pillow is, right? When you ask them on the street, because our parents and school taught us this knowledge when we're growing up. And then now I want you to even think one level deeper and think about how someone created the concept of a pillow in the first place, right? Like, where did it all begin? Where did all of this conceptualization of like creating this legitimate object of a pillow come from, right? Did you figure it out? The concept was created from someone's mind, right? Because this person noticed a problem, right? The creator of a pillow, or he or she, noticed that we didn't have a soft support beneath our head when we're sleeping, which may have caused that person some kind of sleeping issue, right? And then his or her mind probably thought of some kind of like soft material that he encountered back then, like cotton, and then imagined tying these cotton up together and created what is so-called pillow today. So putting this pillow aside and going back to the main point, what does this tell us, right? What does this tell us if we want to live a more fulfilled and aligned life? If we want to build a product of a fulfilled and aligned life, where does it all get started? So if you think back to the pillow as an example, the goal with the creator of the pillow is to make a comfortable head resting. So what is our goal here? Our goal here is to live a fulfilled and aligned life. So once you know that, the first step is to get a better picture of what and how a fulfilled and aligned life feels for you. Because everyone's different, right? For example, you might prefer a softer pillow while I prefer a harder pillow, and that's pretty true in my family. My brother, he likes softer pillows while I prefer like the harder ones. And it's no different with our lives, right? You're going to probably have different things that makes you feel fulfilled compared to what makes me fulfilled, what makes my brother fulfilled, what makes your friends fulfilled. So we need to get this idea of what actually makes us fulfilled first before going full speed ahead. And what's so powerful with visualization is that it's a guided exercise that is directly personalized to you. And if you think about it for a second, there's not many exercises, introduced by people around you that can be personalized for you. And if you think about school in general, a lot of the education that I receive is done in one form of way, right? Everyone has to take the same tests, even though we know that everyone operates in different ways. But then on the other hand, visualization is really your imagination creating all of this juice. And what I'm solely doing in visualization is guiding you through an imagination process to help you unlock these memories and visions from your mind, which you may have forgotten about. And then afterwards, we're going to work based on these blueprints on liberating yourself from all of the trauma and pain and fear that are inflicted in your life. And these exercises itself is super valuable for you, right? Because you know yourself the best. I've said this in the previous video as well, but no one else knows you more than you do. So what's most important is getting to know who you are. And the only way to do that, and I repeat myself again, the only way to do that is to do the work yourself. So let's just get started. Make sure you got the time for this. And you're seated with your eyes closed now. Get nice and comfortable. Start relaxing your body and start getting into the very present moment. The moment of now. Right now. Not a minute ago. Not in the future. But what's really happening for you right now? With your eyes closed, I want you to notice all of the different sensations that are arising in your body. Just get in touch with them. These may be sensations that you probably haven't noticed up till now. And really feel all the different parts of your body. Your legs, your stomach, your chest, your face, and notice what they feel like in the present moment. Now, what I'd like you to do is to take one nice deep breath in at your own pace, and as you exhale, completely relax your entire body. Notice if you're holding on to any thoughts in your mind right now, and just gently let go. Now take one more nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, completely relax your body even more. And notice yourself descending down into the present moment. Right now, right here, with a very clear mind. Notice how still your mind is, like a river without a single cripple on it. I want to take you back in time a little bit, into your own life. And in fact, I want you to jump all the way back in time to your birth, the moment you were born. Now, you may not really remember that, but you can imagine that. Picture all the struggles, all the challenges that were there in your life the moment you were born. Now, as a baby, you probably had to figure out how to breathe and eat and drink and all that basic stuff, right? And I want you to move forward in time to some of the first memories that you have as a child, whatever those were. I want you to remember what life was like then. Probably very different from what it is now, isn't it? A whole new, different set of challenges existed back then that were unique to that point in your life. And just notice that some of those challenges really made you struggle. And the other challenges, you really overcame and mastered them. But either ways, you still made it through. You still survived life. You're here today. Now move to the time when you were 7 years old. What were you dealing with at that time? I want you to recall that whatever the challenges were, somehow you also lived through that, good or bad, and it was probably a mix of both. Somehow you survived those challenges and you cope with it. And sometimes not as well as you like to, and sometimes you aced it. And I want you to acknowledge that that was you who did that. That power within you to overcome those challenges. That was you. Now, let's move to when you're 12 years old. What were the challenges you faced at 12? Very different, right? Again, new stuff coming up on your radar, as usual. Like new people, new school, stuff with family. You were starting to come to your own mind. And just notice all of the challenges there. Acknowledge to yourself that you successfully overcame these challenges. And even if you failed at whatever challenge, you still overcame it. Because you're still alive today. You made it through. And life is okay. You made it. And maybe it was very difficult at times, but you still made it. Acknowledge yourself for that. You did that. Something inside of you allowed you to make it through that. Now move to the time when you're 15 years old. What challenges did you face at 15 that you never faced before in your life? Friendships, schoolwork, parents. Think about all of the good times and think about all of the bad times. And you might even recall some times when you were at your lowest. What was your lowest struggle and challenge there? I want you to remember that you overcame that. No matter how bad the challenge was, you still lived through that. You persevered through it. It was you. And really be proud of that, right? Be proud of that. It was something inside of you that pushed through everything. And now, whatever your age is, I want you to move back a year ago. Remember the times when you failed. Remember the times when you succeeded. More importantly, acknowledge that you lived through that. It was, again, something inside of you that helped you live through it, right? And in fact, if we take a look at your whole life from 10,000 foot elevation perspective, from your birth through your childhood up until this point, take a look at all of the good times and all of the bad times, and all the things that you did, and all the things that you thought you couldn't do. And there was probably a lot of things that you thought you couldn't do, right? But you did. Wasn't there? And yeah, there were some stuff that you thought you couldn't do and you didn't do. But as a whole, you're a remarkable human being. You went from a baby who couldn't talk or walk to someone completely different. And in some sort of sense, it's like you turn from a caterpillar and grown out to become a beautiful butterfly. So notice that there's something in you that's pulling you in that process. Notice that you have a lot more strength, ability, and perseverance than what you can ever imagine yourself and acknowledge yourself for. In fact, you got some kind of engine inside of you that keeps you pushing and pushing and pushing, and that engine will keep fighting even during your hardest situations. It will come up with coping strategies, find new people, friends, learn new things, develop new skill sets, develop this creative solution. And this part of you is really a force of nature, and it's really beyond you, right? And in a sense, you can look at your life and say, I did all of that. But you can also look at your life and say, I did none of that. Because there's some kind of force inside of you that's making you do all of these things. And I want you to start getting in touch with this force and wonder what it's truly capable of. Because from this point on, from right now, this second, this minute, into the future until you die, you've got some time remaining. And it's up to you what you'll program this force to do. In a sense that this force will turn on and act even without you. But wouldn't it be nice to ally with this force? To make it your force consciously? to have it be your partner, to channel this force into a real force of good into the world, so then you could take all of your strengths and develop it even further? What would your life look like if you took this force to the maximum of its capabilities? What could you accomplish with it? What will be the gifts that the world will receive? What gifts will you share with the world? In fact, what I would like you to do right now is start to imagine. From this point forward into the future, I want you to imagine yourself as a hero. The hero on a noble journey. And you as a hero has finally got a cause to show up for. Something showed up in your radar that's finally worth fighting for. Like really, really, really worth fighting for. Why? Because it moves you deeply inside. And you also know that you're up for the challenge. You got this force of nature inside of you, which who knows how powerful it is. But it's certainly more powerful than how much you can give credit to and acknowledge. Now I want you to continue visualizing you accepting that call. You getting onto this hero's journey. You going on to fight for something that's actually worth fighting for you. Make it personal. Make living your life personal. You make living your life your art form. You make living your life a message to the world. Picture yourself living a noble life with a higher purpose. And imagine yourself as you're struggling through this hero's journey. You face many obstacles and challenges, many bosses that block your way. And your greatest challenges are your inner demons. And you know what your inner demons are. They've been with you the whole time throughout your life. And they are the ones who've been holding you back. They've been holding you back so much to the point where you haven't even stepped into the hero's journey. Because simply you've been refusing the call. Well, I want you to picture yourself slaying all of those inner demons along this journey, one after another. Stabbing through their limbs, chopping off their heads, slicing their arms. And you conquering and persevering using that force of nature within you. You really channel that force and take it to the next level. And all of those fears and insecurity that you have, eventually, because of that force, you slay them all. It's a very difficult journey, but it's also a rewarding journey. And as you slay each one of those demons, you feel more free and open. You're able to live your passion. You're able to live authentically with it. You see yourself living less like the inauthentic you in the past and the new authentic you in the future. And that new authentic you is something completely mind-blowing and different. So as you go through this journey, you really transform into something totally different. And that excites you. You're excited to shed off all of the old skin and really get warm and cozy into the new skin. And imagine yourself finally reaching that holy grail, that golden ticket at the end that you've been after for. Finally making it with your life purpose and seizing that grail or that ticket with your hand. That impact that you have with your life. And imagine you bring it back to your fellow men and women, sharing it with them, sharing all of these stories. And then afterwards, the meaning completely changes for you now. Now you know how it feels like to live a noble life of higher purpose, of high consciousness, from your higher self. Not life with petty problems, but life of sharing and giving your gifts to the world, making the world a better place of whatever is meaningful for you. And all the struggles that came with that, all of the low times and all of the high times, the exciting times and the boring times. You look back on that on your deathbed, patting yourself on the back for making the wise choice of getting onto this journey. And because of that, you don't have any regrets anymore. Because you lived your life to the fullest. You gave it your all. Now you're ready to rest. You are ready to truly rest in peace. You've done everything that you can do in this life. You experienced the highs, the lows, the exciting times, the upsetting times, your deepest sorrows. You're like a warrior. You've been through it all. You've been through the greatest battle that's ever been fought. And you arrived at the center of it. And yeah, there were times when you failed, you lost the battle, you slipped. You probably had to retreat and lick your wounds. But in the end, you still came back. And you came back. And you came back again. You came back until you slayed every one of your inner demons. And really what you did is conquer yourself. And knowing that, now you can die proud. Now you can die fulfilled. Now you can really rest in peace. Take a moment to soak all that in. All right, on a count of 3, you're going to open your eyes, wide awake and alert. 1, 2, 3. Your eyes are open, alert, and refreshed. Well, welcome back. That right there is not just a myth or a fairy tale. As you probably think in the hero's journey, it's something that you heard from fiction or from a video game. But really there's no difference, and that's how I want you to start thinking about your life, right? Start thinking that you're the hero of your life. It's so important for us to really put ourselves into the shoes of the heroes and treat life as if it actually matters and there's not much left and you've actually got a lot of big shit to do in the world. Because life purpose, again, is all about the vision itself. Life purpose is vision. So what is your vision for the future? Is it big enough, or is it something that's super small? And what I've gave you a taste there was a very little vision that you have. And just imagine how your life would be if you woke up every single day thinking about your hero's journey and thinking about how you can inspire and impact others in awesome ways. Just think about how motivated you'll get, how excited you will feel. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do on this channel and with Awakened Teens. Fueling you with the energy to create an awesome vision and purpose with your passion. When I was going through this visualization exercise myself, I found it super transformative. It really shed the light to what exactly we're going to be committing on this journey, right? Because it's very important to have a good feeling and sense, even though we don't exactly know where we want to go yet and what we exactly want to do, to actually feel how the overall journey will be to motivate us to actually get started. So hope you guys found that useful as well. More videos to come, definitely, and catch you guys in the next one.